Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Ticcing Together. As always, the goal of this channel is to provide education about and to raise awareness as to what it's like living with Tourette Syndrome. In today's video, it is so exciting. I have a guest that I'm going to be featuring, so it's really great. You guys are about to meet Maddison, my friend from the UK. She's 14 years old and she has just recently developed tics, so it's been about a month for her. And she was so kind to reach out to me on Instagram to ask for advice and just like see how it's been like for me living with tics for 10 years. And so today's video is going to feature her and kind of her story, and what we're going to do is we're going to compare our stories as someone who has been recently experiencing tics in 2020 and someone who had tics in 2010 on to 2020, and just kind of seeing the differences and similarities in our stories. So without further ado, let's get to that. Hey!
Hi!
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, like your name, your age, stuff like that?
So I'm Maddison. I have just turned 14. I was about to say I'm 13, not quite right. I have developed tics for the past month, and I reached out to Carly to seek help and advice about it, and she's been very helpful, and I can't believe how much she's helped. And we're here today to show the difference between what it's like just beginning with it and what it's like 10 years on.
Yeah, definitely. That is a great intro. So just a disclaimer for you guys watching this. When two people with tics or Tourette's get together, sometimes it increases our tics. So bear with us here. So thank you for joining me, Maddison. This is going to be great. And like she said, we're just going to talk about the differences between living with tics for a month versus over 10 years and how it's kind of been for us.
Yeah, of course.
So, what is your first tic that you developed, and like when did you notice it?
Well, my first tic was probably my first most frequent one was I used to turn my head and until I could feel my neck muscle pull, and that was like one of the most annoying ones because once I actually pulled my neck, turning my head too fast.
Yeah.
So that was my first one. It hasn't been the best one, obviously.
Yeah.
Woo! But in
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I didn't really realize for the first few times. I just thought I was just turning my head to look at something.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I was doing it a lot more frequent, and then a new one started developing.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, what's happening? Because I remember about a year ago I did have some kind of tic, but it went away, so I didn't really think much of it. But then when they start coming back, I was like, yeah, definitely something's happening here.
Yeah. So how did you feel like when you kind of figured out, I think these are tics?
Well, I didn't really know how to deal with it at first. So my first initial reaction was to try and not tell anyone at first. But then I was on call with my friend one day, and she was like, oh, what are you doing? And I kind of pushed it aside like, I'm not doing anything, when I was actually ticking. So then later on, she kind of noticed it more and more, like concerned in a way.
Yeah.
And she was like constantly asking me about it. And obviously at first I didn't really want to talk about it because I didn't really want to say anything. But then as time went on, it was like it took me about 2 weeks to actually open up to her about it and tell her what's happening. So, and then, yeah, that's just how I kind of had no other choice because they noticed.
Mm-hmm. So how have your friends been dealing with it?
Well, my closest of friends have been dealing it with really well. Like, they are supporting me and things like that. And obviously, they even say sometimes that I don't know what it's like I don't know what it's like to tic and things like that. But they've been saying this to me, all we can do is you tell us what you want us to do that'll help you the best.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. now going back to like comparing our stories. So, you're obviously really lucky to have a good support group with your friends because I totally didn't.
Yeah.
When I was your age, 14, I didn't really have many friends, and those that I did have, I didn't tell them about my tics. So I
Yeah.
really admire you for being so open about it and telling them and being like, yo, this is what I have and this is what you can do. So that's really awesome. Another question I have, sorry, this is kind of turning into like an interview, but
It's
what kind
fine.
of advice would you give for someone who's currently just developing tics, like in regards to how to cope or like how to tell their parents or like just what have you been doing to kind of combat it?
The best thing for me is I like talking to your friends about it and making them aware so you don't feel as scared around them to tick and as it's harder to like it gets harder to hide them as you get more. So, and especially like I did, seek advice from somebody who has experience with tics and things like that, like I did to you. So I'd say that's the best advice.
That's awesome. Very, very insightful. So, another question that I think the viewers might want to know, since it has been like 10 years difference between us and being like developing of tics, what kind of stuff have you faced with the stigma surrounding tics, if you know anything about like the
Like the
the
stereotypes.
stereotypes, the stigma, stuff like that? Like what kind of stuff have you
See,
dealt with?
the thing with me is when I told my teacher, she constantly just thought swearing and shouting and things like that, that the internet um, makes it look like it's just that. And she doesn't realise the fact that no matter how um, severe or like not mild it is, it's still the same thing, no matter where you are on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she just thought swearing and shouting and unable to control it 24/7.
Yeah.
So obviously, people don't understand as much, I think, because of the internet and what it's brought it up to be.
Yeah. And see, for me, like 10 years ago now, I kind of had similar stuff, but like I was kind of hoping it would have changed a little bit. But I guess with the internet and social media being so prominent, it's probably not getting much better.
Yeah.
When I was diagnosed, do you know about the Tourette's guy meme?
No.
Okay, because when I was diagnosed, he was this like big deal, and it was just this guy who was like enacting, he was acting out Tourette syndrome, like he didn't have it, and he became like this really popular meme, and he like was the epitome of swearing and just like the stigma. And
Oh
so
my
that's what
god.
I saw when I was first diagnosed, and that's what people in my school knew about Tourette's
Yeah.
syndrome. So that's why I was so scared. And the swearing stereotype has been so prevalent for so long because of the media. And I guess social
Yeah.
media has also kind of enhanced that, which is frustrating because I was hoping that the stereotypes and stigma
Yeah.
would be better as the years went on.
hmm
So it's a little bit disappointing to hear that we've had similar experiences.
And it's strange. It's strange how I find that when I'm walking to school and things like that, that when adults stare,
Hmm.
it's like you can understand kids, but when adults turn around and look at you, it's kind of like you shouldn't really be doing that.
Yeah, and I'm technically an adult now. Like I'm 22, and even when people older than me stare, I'm kind of like, do you not have
Yeah.
manners? Like, do you not understand? So I totally relate, especially when you're younger, like 14. Like obviously you're not too young, but being that age, like you're kind of like finding yourself. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so having the tics on top of that is like another added level of like, oh my gosh, I have to like be so good at everything. I have to be a perfectionist. I
Yes.
can't show my tics. So it's like almost like you're enhancing being a teenager.
And of course, because high school, like people judge you for the littlest of things, even without it. So with the tics, people don't understand how hard it can be sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it may look like all fun and games, and you say something funny or you look funny at a time, but then they don't understand what it's like you personally.
Yeah. Excuse
People
me.
don't understand how mentally exhausting it can be as well.
Yeah. So have you had any experiences of people like blatantly making fun of you or like saying things that are not nice or
Definitely.
yeah.
One day I was in line to go into school and somebody said a horrible name to me, and I I'm pretty sure I was having a tic attack, and my I didn't even notice that they said it at first. So obviously I didn't realize it, and then my friends just looked at me like, "Oh my God, how did you not notice he said that?" Obviously, I don't really want to say it,
Yeah, of course.
but it wasn't the best of names.
Yeah. That's so unfortunate because like you said, you've only had ticks for about a month, like worse ones for a month. So um I can't believe like how people haven't changed in 10 years because I've received
Yeah,
comments on my videos from people who are like in their 40s and who have ticks and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it hasn't changed in 20 years." And so I was hoping maybe in 30 years it might have changed, but the stigma
yeah,
is still very prevalent.
yeah,
So
definitely.
I wish that it would change because like we should be using social media to our benefit, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of, we have a TikTok together. Um,
Yeah.
we just made it a few days ago. It's at Let's Talk Ticks. I'm gonna link it here. Um, but you guys should check it out. It's definitely talking about tics and Tourette's from the perspective of someone being diagnosed recently or someone who's experienced them recently and someone who's been diagnosed over 10 years ago. So check that out. um, but I think going back to using social media in a good way, do you have any ideas of how we could do that? Because like I feel like there's so many people that are just so mean.
I feel like you just need to explain what it's like in a way, what it's like to be so overwhelmed with the ticks and people lashing at you on top of that. And with what I've experienced with people saying that I'm faking and things like that, we definitely need to raise awareness of being able to like mask the ticks and things like that, and educate people about that definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important because like what I've noticed is with social media, like a lot of us takers are coming forward and being like, "Hey, this is what I have and this is what it is. This is how it's like dealing with it." But what I've noticed is a lot of people are commenting the faking thing. Like, "Oh my gosh, you're faking because like
Yes,
we don't see you take all the time." So
yes,
that didn't
definitely.
happen for me when I was first diagnosed because social media wasn't as big and I wasn't as public about it on there. I've only personally ever had one person tell me I'm faking on social media, and I was like what? So
Yeah,
I just think it's like the weirdest thing, and like trying to figure out how to use social media to our benefit without having these people telling us we're faking when clearly we're not. And why would anyone ever
exactly.
fake it?
Yeah, because I think I'm not going to jump to a conclusion. I'm not going to mention the name in any way, but I think I may have seen someone faking ticks around me. And the thing is, people don't understand that that triggers us, and we don't want more ticks on top of the ones that we already have. And obviously, because to me, I'm constantly developing new ticks, and because it's new to me, and so I don't want people like faking around me and me getting those the things that they're doing as well.
Yeah. I just like it's a fine line because the people that actually experience it shouldn't be told they're faking, but the people that are
Yeah,
faking should be called out. And it's like,
exactly.
how
And
do you
it,
tell the difference?
yeah, exactly. Like you don't want to, because definitely for me, I don't want to say to people that they're faking because I know how what it's like to be told
Mm-hmm.
that. But then again, you don't want the people that are faking to think it's okay.
Yeah. So when I was about 13, I was at a soccer party because I used to play soccer and like your football, I guess.
Yeah.
And there was this girl who was like flailing her arms all of a sudden at the party and was like, "Oh my gosh, I have Tourette's, like B word, B word, B word." And all the soccer players were just laughing and being like, "Oh my gosh, Tourette's is so funny. Like, tics are the most funny thing. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke." And she was like, "Yeah, I totally have it." And like, she totally didn't. She was definitely faking. And at this
Yeah.
time, I hadn't like disclosed to them that I dealt with it and I'd been suppressing in front of them. So
Yeah,
in that way, it's kind of like, why would anyone do that? Because it's so hurtful to us.
exactly.
So, like, the fact that you've dealt with that after only a month of tics, like, that's bizarre.
Yeah, like it's just strange how people react to things like this and the way they come across to it, like things like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a really big challenge, and like I want to say I'm proud of you for reaching out because I know how hard it is. If when I was 12 and I was diagnosed, I literally had no one, and so like with my Instagram page that I have and like having people reach out like you, it genuinely makes me feel better because I'm like, if I can help someone who is in my shoes, like I think
Yeah,
in the future you might have a little bit more tools with how to deal with it. And like I think that's really
yeah.
so. One more question, just to compare kind of our stories. Um, how have your parents been dealing with it?
Well, obviously because I suppress around so much, they don't really understand as well. Because I want to be able to show them what it's like and that, but it's so much harder than it seems. So obviously they don't understand as much because they're like, you're on about it so much, but so my mum is very understanding, but it's kind of obviously because it's not really noticeable at home, they don't really bring it up as much.
Yeah,
So it's kind of just pushed to the side for now, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
But we definitely said if it carries on for a few more months, we'll definitely go and see someone.
that's good. So are you able to suppress better at home or like in public?
Yeah, I think at home's easier because I'm so used to it. And obviously, I don't have the surroundings like I do outside. Like, I have this really annoying tick that I go beep beep birdie, and obviously, if there's birds, it'll push
Yeah,
that tick out. If you know what I mean, like it
yeah,
will cause it. So definitely, it's easier at home.
yeah. There's a lot of triggers in the outside world for sure.
Definitely,
Yeah,
like if I see a dog, I will tick yelling doggy, which
yeah.
isn't the best.
Ticks are so weird. And they're
Yeah, it's
so
so weird how it
impressionable.
works.
Yeah, they're so impressionable. Like if you see something, sometimes you'll pick up. Like for me, when I see dogs, sometimes I bark. So it's just like it's like what the heck? Like I just like it's weird. But it's
Yeah, it's
nice to have someone to like understand and relate to, especially though we're on different like ends of our journey, kind of. Because like even though we're
yeah,
so like 10 years apart in what we're experiencing, we relate to each other so
we
much.
relate so much.
Yeah, so I think that's really cool. And I would encourage the viewers out there, if you're living with tics or Tourette's or anything like that, to find someone who's experiencing it because you will feel so much better to know that you're not alone. It's really important. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's changed my life for sure. So before we wrap up this little interview, I just wanted to ask you one more thing that I think is super important because um, I like just kind of want to know from someone who's been recently experiencing its perspective. Um, what kind of advice or what kind of takeaway would you give to someone who is experiencing tics currently or who feels like they're alone with their tics? Like, what would you recommend? Just from your experience dealing with it for a month, like, what's the one thing you want people to know?
definitely don't judge someone doing. Like, if you see someone doing something or saying something, even if you don't think even if they haven't mentioned tics before, just don't judge them or say that they're faking in any way, especially if it's new, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. If it's new, a lot of the times, I'm sure you know, you feel very like scared and intimidated, and it's like, what the
Yeah,
heck is happening? Because like it's almost like a complete lack of control. So um,
yeah,
I totally get it, and that's really good input because like so many people go through it. I think it's 1 in 100 people actually experience tics.
yeah.
So a lot of us do deal with it, and I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us all. I think we're going to wrap it up here, but thank you so much for all of your insight on being someone who's recently diagnosed tics because I think it is so important for people to know because a lot of
Yeah.
people are in your shoes, like a lot of people, and you're totally not alone. Like it's just like, it's hard, but I get it and I feel ya.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap it up. I just wanted to say again, thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to say, or like, do you want to promote anything of yours, like channels or anything?
Well, definitely follow our joint TikTok because we post a lot on there and we try and raise awareness and educate people about tics and Tourette's. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope we can do another one in the future, maybe in a month or two, just to see kind of how things have been progressing for you. And yeah, I look forward to staying in touch and just like following along on your journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. This was so insightful and so important. Thank you so much to Maddison for volunteering to be part of this video and spread further awareness with me. I think it's so crucial to get experiences from someone who's new to the world of tics, as well as someone who's experienced it for a while, and just to compare. So thank you again. If you liked this video, I would be so appreciative if you would give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below saying hi, telling me what you want to see in future videos, or letting me know if you relate to either of our stories and just kind of how it's been for you. I love relating to you guys. Again, follow our TikTok at Let's Talk Tics, and follow my Instagram at Ticking Clock if you want to be like Maddison and reach out to me, because I'm always here for you guys. As always, we're learning together, we're laughing together, and we're ticking together. Have a great night, guys.